Hello and welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you for joining me. In today's show, we're going to take a look at December 2019 astrology as well as the 12/12 portal energies. December is an exceptionally big month. I've been receiving a lot of visuals to share with you in order to navigate and understand some of the bigger energy cycles that we're moving through. And we are really doing a lot of deep clearing and deep strengthening. The deep clearing that I'm feeling is coming through your ability to be decisive, where you understand yes or no about your various areas of life. There's an energy here of focus on what you're moving into and to be very aware of how you're saying no, how you're establishing boundaries, how you are reining in your energy so that it's not dispersed and diminished unnecessarily. A lot about December is requiring us to strengthen at an energetic, physical, spiritual level. It's to apply the wisdom you've learned. It's to own your mastery and to allow yourself to feel very strong in who you are now. And again, the decisiveness is so important because mentally we can stay in circles and loops and replays. It's part of our human nature to play out something mentally, and sure, that happens at times. But I'm feeling this laser point focus that is really important in your mental space so that you're aware of what matters to you now. And again, this does relate to the 12/12 energy portal, and it especially relates to the second half of December, and I would say even the last 2 weeks, 10 days of December, where we have a very strong focus on Capricorn energies. So there's a lot happening here in December. I'm really excited to do this show and to share with you ways that you can be strong in yourself, allow yourself the mental clarity that you deserve. And that is also, now, as I say that, they're showing me it's rooted in your confidence in yourself. So we have this energy right now that is asking you to honor and clear out anything that's been sticking to you from this decade. And that's another big energy around December 2019 is that, yes, it's the end of the calendar year, but it's also the end of a significant energy cycle of this decade. And this decade has been very big energetically. We've had a lot that's needed to come up for healing, for understanding, for growth. I know that it's been probably some of the most intense 10 years for many of you. It's probably a bigger serving than what you thought you would be receiving. There was a lot of the turmoil, I'm seeing a turnover as well of energies that had to come through, that had to play out, that had to show up so that you could release them, complete them, and ultimately rise in your own consciousness of who you are, what you are doing in this lifetime, and what matters to you for the long term. So December is asking you to honor this part of yourself. It's your deep knowingness. It's your connection to all that is now true for you. And it's also helping you pave the way for the next decade. So as December gets underway, we have some big energies that play out in the next number of weeks. And please note that in this show, I'll be focusing on some of the bigger astrological transits, not all of them, but the bigger ones that are shaping and defining this month. I'll be talking about the Gemini Full Moon as well as that Capricorn New Moon solar eclipse. So let's get to it. The one thing that's really important to know right now is that all planets are direct except Uranus in Taurus, which is retrograde back to 2 degrees and will station direct January 11th. And so this is a time of moving forward, literally allowing yourself to move forward and knowing that you're supported now that all planets are direct except Uranus, and that there is a need right now to keep going, keep going, keep going, which is something I've repeated in recent shows because I think mentally we are needing that reminder that we're built for the long term. You are built for the long term. Even when we get in these ruts or energies that could feel denser or heavier, you are made to keep going and to keep strengthening and to take the best and leave the rest. So please honor that part of yourself right now. And I keep feeling a clearing energy, so I'm probably going to repeat that throughout this show. A very deep clearing away in the energy field, in the aura of you, like the stuff that was even behind you, the baggage, anything that was energetically piled up, it's time to toss it out. Take it to the trash can, take it out where the garbage truck will pick it up. There's big removals right now. So we have Jupiter squaring Chiron in December 7th through the 11th-ish. And then we also have Jupiter making a fortuitous trine to Uranus in Taurus retrograde. Now, this Jupiter energy in Capricorn is about reprogramming where you can connect with joy, abundance, flow, and ease in your life plans. Capricorn is a planner. It's like, what's the business plan? What's the life plan? What's our plan for where we're going next year? And so with Jupiter here, it's helping us understand what we are creating and planning in our lives. And it's also working with any unconscious energies you hold about work, about what it means to be yourself in the world, your professional self, to share who you are, your skills, your talents, your ambitions, your desires. And Jupiter in Capricorn is helping us find that joy in work, in our life, in our plans, in our business, in what we're putting out into the world. And it's asking you to take it seriously, to look at how you can rework anything in your life. You are an energy master. So where are you ready to reconnect with what you want for the long term? So as Jupiter comes up to a square to Chiron in Aries, you feel a wounding, a vulnerability. I can't do that. Who am I to try that? I don't have that ability. I don't know that part of myself yet. Chiron in Aries is showing you new parts of yourself. And Jupiter comes through and says, yeah, you can do this. All you have to do is work hard, put in the effort, make sure you've got this covered. And that Chiron in Aries says, I don't know if I'm ready. Or it's almost like a nervousness or a sense of, I need to develop the confidence to follow that path or that plan. So there's a trigger potentially this week around, I want to do this, but I don't think I'm ready. So allow that to be heard. Allow that to be heard so that you can heal it. Chiron is stationing direct this month, December 13th, at 1 degree of Aries, nearly the beginning of the zodiac, and is beginning this confidence building that you've been working through most of 2019. Chiron is showing you where you're ready to feel a sense of strength in your own self, in your self-identity and who you are now. It's an emerging energy of self, meaning the new components of you that you've just met are coming through strongly, and it's sort of like meeting new guests at the dinner table. I didn't know I liked this. I didn't know I was interested in this. And allowing yourself to be rebirthed, if you will, in a way that represents truly who you are now. The Chiron in Aries is also healing our root chakra energies of fight or flight. It's showing us where we had fear or deep anger that we can heal, that we can work with. It doesn't have to be an all-consuming anger or an all-consuming reaction. There's something here where we're working gently with that root chakra where it's been too active or too much. So this Jupiter squaring Chiron could show you something that you're ready to heal in yourself in order to step into more confidence. Now, Jupiter is also trining Uranus, and this is an energy of opportunity, saying yes, having something advantageous show up in your world. I just released a video on YouTube on Sunday, December 8th, talking about Jupiter trining Uranus. This is a rare transit, and it can show up as surprise manifestations, especially if you have any planets or points at 2 or 3 degrees of the earth signs or the water signs. And this is the development of the seeds that were planted. This is something finally connecting, finally coming through in a very practical, real way. And this is great for your business plan. This is great for life clarity. This is great for connecting the dots around what you are building and developing next based on what you value now. And this energy is exact through the middle of December. I'm going to call it about December 11th through the 16th or 17th. So know that this is a prime period for taking something forward, developing a project, and helping to build what you want next. Then, following this very active time with Jupiter and Capricorn making aspects to Chiron and Uranus, we have the Gemini Full Moon. This is exact December 11th or 12th, depending on your time zone, and it's happening at 20 degrees of Gemini. It's always when the moon is opposing the sun. It's the brightest time of the month. It's when you go outside and there's the moon glow and you can see everything highlighted across the treetops. It's a very beautiful, enchanting time of the month where we understand more in our own consciousness. The full moon illuminates. It reveals to us. It shows us the secrets of the night. It shows us what we wouldn't normally see in the daytime. And so it is a time of seeing something in a new way. And in Gemini, the energy of details, specifics, linear thinking, information, this is a time of being open to new information, new stories, new understandings that perhaps you didn't see yet. You go outside under the full moon and your eye can look across the landscape and it will focus on something it didn't see before. It will notice the details or the particulars that never caught your eye. And this is a full moon where we're meant to be very aware of what we're focusing on. As the moon in Gemini opposes Sagittarius, the sun in Sagittarius is expansive, positive, upbeat, big, and it looks at the higher vision, the higher purpose, the world view. It's a very expansive sun in Sagittarius, but sometimes that can take us away from the particulars that matter. So we're being asked to balance our energies away, not only staying in where you're going next year, what you have in front of you this month. There's lots of parties and planning and family events and things happening right now that can even feel overwhelming. But the moon in Gemini focuses in on how to stay mindful. Gemini ruling the mind and the mindfulness of the moment. Now, the sun and the moon are both squaring Neptune at nearly 16 degrees of Pisces. And this square will diffuse energy. It can create confusion. I can't see it clearly. It can also feel overwhelming. There's too much. I don't know what to focus on. I don't know what to do next. I'm aware that there's a lot going on and I'm feeling tired. Neptune can also drain our energy and require us to take a break from the physical world, a break from everything that's happening in front of us. And so what we're looking at now is how to step away from putting too much pressure on ourselves to do it all. And I feel like this Gemini full moon is asking you to tap in to your true priorities right now. And not only what matters in the moment, but the best use of your energy, because it's very easy to be pulled in multiple directions at this time of year. So take a step back, give yourself some downtime. Perhaps it's meditation, it's simply turning off all stimuli, stepping away from your phone, and just looking at what matters right now that I need to take care of, but that I also need to remember is essential for me. When we pull our energy in and we feel strong in ourselves, then we're really clear about what to do, what to focus on, what to apply energy towards, and everything else dissolves away. So with this full moon, not only is it important to be very mindful of where your energy is going, but this full moon is connected to the 12-12 energy portal. And this is a time of the deep clearing out of what's complete. And as I say this, I see this very cool door. And it's one of those wooden doors with the iron handles, and you can, as you open it and walk through it, you go through this archway. It's like a stone archway. And I feel like there is something about this portal that's asking you to leave behind where you have risen in consciousness. You've risen in your self-mastery. You've got it. Like there's something where you said, okay, got it. Yes, understood. And this also relates to a previous show I did for you about Venus in Capricorn conjunct Saturn and Pluto, and how I'm feeling that as a graduation energy. A lot about this month feels like we're graduating away from energies, dynamics, lessons, healing, challenges that are clearing out, and they clear out because of your desire to move forward. And they clear out because you have changed permanently, and there is nothing behind you. There's nowhere to go back to. When there is karma in play, when there are energy cycles that are incomplete, then there's always energy to go back to. But I feel like there's been such a huge clearing of what this decade has brought up that there's only going forward. And so I see this 12-12 portal as such a time of illumination. Oh, this is so cool. So now they're showing me that full moon energy where you're out in the dark night and you see the beauty of the landscape through the glow of the moon. But then this archway, this stone archway with the wooden door presents itself as very enchanting. It's very magical. It's inviting and safe. It's something that you walk through this doorway and you enter a new domain. And it feels like I'm seeing, this is so funny, I'm seeing it being at a higher vantage point. And then there's like this valley or something down below that's a terrain. Okay, wow. They're showing me Atlantis. So this is quite fascinating. This is a 12-12 portal where we are entering new energies that are surrounding, it's like the perimeter of Atlantis energies. And what they're showing me, what I'm seeing, is that the Atlantis energies are very Capricorn and Aquarius in nature. And we're on like this perimeter outside the city. Outside, there's like a force field. It's all very sci-fi right now, which feels very real. A lot of sci-fi is real. And so this is a portal of standing outside Atlantis energies. I'll talk more about that. But there's something that you're meant to understand. You're different. We're all different at a soul level, at a human level. And there are energies playing out to observe, but these energies, you don't have to participate and you don't have to jump right in. So there's something here about being in this, wow, it's like, I'm going to call it a valley, and understanding your growth, your healing, what you've learned, and you're carrying that with you in a whole new way. And as we enter the next decade, you are walking with this strength, with this wisdom that is more powerful than ever. And I'm feeling like there's a lot of layers happening here, a lot of layers of energy. So what I'm also seeing is going back to the Venus conjunct Saturn and Pluto. That conjunction is happening December 9th through the 13th. Exactly during the full moon and this 12/12 portal. And it means that the divine feminine energy has been deeply activated. And it is more powerful and stronger than it has been in many, I'm feeling, centuries. And please know that this is men and women. Divine feminine is the archetypal energies of unconditional love, acceptance, compassion, what you feel, the truth of your heart, how you are able to emotionally connect with others. You don't keep it hidden, you don't squash it, you don't kill it. And there is an energy here of the heart being stronger through many lessons and healing cycles. And now within us, there is this divine feminine love that's growing, and it's growing in a solid way that is strengthening. It's been infusing all of our energies. And this is the energy that goes through the 12/12 portal. And this is why we're revisiting Atlantis energies, because now the divine feminine energies are going to be present in the Atlantis timelines. It's like there's new visitors, new energies coming in to heal the Atlantis wound. And so now I'm seeing this stone archway, walking through that wooden door and seeing the valley below that looks bright and beautiful and very clearly a city. But this time there are new energies coming towards the city, and it is the energy of the divine feminine healing, and it is the energy being brought into the Atlantis wound. And that's one of the reasons why over the next year, 2 years, number of years, a lot of things that are going to be playing out in the 3D world, the physical world, in a lot of the Capricorn structures, they have been the energies without the divine feminine presence. And so this is our task, this is our assignment, this is our activation with the 12/12 portal, is now we rise in the strength of the Capricorn, I'm here, the Capricorn heart. Now, Capricorn is a feminine earth sign. We tend to think of it as masculine. We tend to think of Saturn as masculine. But the earth signs are all feminine. And it's the energy of a matriarch. And because there has been so much harm done through the patriarchy, now the matriarchy shows up. And I'm seeing this awesome circle of souls all around this Atlantis city. And it's all of these different higher vibrating energies of a queen, priestess, warrior, maiden. I feel this circling of divine feminine energies, but I'm seeing males too. So it's very empowered masculine energies who are also understanding what was wrong in Atlantis, where the energies were not balanced. And it feels like that's what's being revisited here. It's like this circling, surrounding the fortress, surrounding the perimeter of Atlantis. We have very strong feminine energies ready to do their work, to bring their energy into this playground and to help move the consciousness forward, to heal the damage, and to allow what needs to fall, to allow what needs to be over and change to be over. So this feels like a very interesting revisitation of these energies. And I was not expecting to talk about this at all. Back in 2013, I offered classes on Atlantis and Lemuria. I had 6 classes that I taught that taught what Atlantis energies were about and what Lemuria energies were about, and how essentially they were embodiments of masculine and feminine energies that were playing out at different parts of the planet. There's very many reasons why these projects and experiments were needed, and there are essential understandings of what was really happening underneath. The DNA experiments, the cloning, the looking at how the human energies could be used and what happens when you did this and with that and what it meant. And a lot was going on that was more intentional than what was originally seen through your basic vision. And so what I'm feeling right now is that there's this merging of the Atlantis Lemurian experiments right now on the planet. And they're merging starting in December and moving into next decade, because so many of us have understood our own divine masculine, our own divine feminine energies, and how they interplay, how there can be harmony. And that's really what I'm feeling, is that the intention, energy is always driven by intention. So what is your intention? And I feel that the consciousness on the planet has reached an important turning point. In fact, in the past week, the Schumann resonance on the planet reached an all-time high that it hasn't been in years. And the Schumann resonance measures the energy on the planet, especially what is happening in our hearts. And so there has been a tipping point that's created this turning point around what we're doing here and what we want to do here. And there's a lot of awareness now around what's really happening in the darker corners of the globe, the horrible betrayals, experiments, pedophilia, crimes, blackmail, betrayal, the spiritual war that's happening. It's becoming more aware. People are becoming more aware, because you have been called to understand what's going on the globe. And this is where you could have found yourself investigating certain topics or trying to figure out more information or putting the pieces together on your own. I feel that there have been more and more people stepping away from mainstream media for any information or answers. You're looking at where you can find the truth. And there are many people out there speaking the truth, talking about the dark rituals, the dark practices, how energy is manipulated, how energy is used for fame, for celebrity, for money, for power, etc. And more people are understanding that this is not where we want the planet to go. This is not where we want the globe to go. So now we have this important month of December highlighting for us, again, decisiveness around what you want in your life and what you want to be a part of on the planet. And I feel like there is an activation of more light that is very high vibrational. And I'm seeing a bunch of light bulbs going on within people. And it's sort of like this energetic light bulb where even if mentally you're not clear on all of the details or information, there's something within you that feels that calling, that feels that sense of, I'm going to be standing on this planet with a higher consciousness, and I'm going to stand in my truth of what's best for humanity. And so this is all part of healing the Atlantis wound. Now in Atlantis, there were a lot of experiments, some very, very dark experiments that were done on humans, on children, on animals, and anything. It was very much about the technology. It was about what the DNA would do. And there was also a lot of destruction because the power became embedded in only a few people. And so we're seeing this play out again. We're seeing how there is power over the globe for only a select number of people. But there are white hats here. There are people who are a part of the Great Awakening, who are doing a lot behind the scenes to take down these structures, these agreements, these contracts, these treaties that kept certain people in power, specifically those who were invested in the New World Order. And then we are seeing how behind the scenes, a lot is coming apart, a lot is being dismantled, and that there is a lot of good happening now. Oh, this is so fascinating. There's a lot of people who think they know what's going on, but they really don't. And they weren't ready yet. And so there's going to be this big, I'm going to call it an energy bomb, for lack of a better word, that comes through. And that's part of this energy of 2020 that reveals what's really going on. And so the more that you can be this observer, again, on this peripheral, outside the city walls, so to speak, the better. You won't be hit with as much shrapnel. You won't be stuck in the fallout. And the more you can step away from politics, the better. Because if you're looking for a hero, if you're looking for the right versus wrong, you're going to be disappointed. And I've said this before, this is an energy of when heroes become zeros. There's a flip happening, a flip. And it's sort of like what you thought was right was wrong, we thought was wrong was right, what's going on? My whole world is turned upside down. And this is part of what's coming through. But we are already entering this energy in December. We've been entering it throughout 2019. And it's happening in a way that allows us to acclimate to the changes. I feel that there's enough things happening that somewhere in your psyche, you're deeply aware that the change is necessary and that you can handle it no matter what. So again, the strengthening is here. The strengthening of the energies are coming through. And that's part of why this is such a pivotal month. Because the 12-12 portal is asking you to be very clear in how you will show up energetically. And this could be different than your belief systems. And I know that's an odd statement to make. But again, I feel like there's people who don't really know what's going on. And so you're really stuck in your beliefs about who's right and who's wrong. And of course, we can talk about politics for examples, but I don't want to, because I don't think that's a very high vibrating energy at all. In fact, that's some of the lowest vibrating energies on the planet. And those are the energies that are being changed. Anything that is stuck in that paradigm of deep-seated power at any cost is what's changing over the next decade. And the U.S. political system is a part of that, certainly with the Pluto return happening for the United States. It's at 27 degrees of Capricorn. That's where the natal Pluto is. And Saturn is coming across that in early or throughout 2020. And then Pluto will be at 27 degrees of Capricorn in a few years. So the U.S. political system is changing permanently over this next decade. And that's good to know, because part of what's changing are these, I'm feeling again, these seeds that were planted in Atlantis, these seeds that were, that grew in a way that were extreme. And they grew without the balancing power of divine feminine compassion, healing, love, logic, reasoning, balance. And it became way too much that created this Atlantis wound. So what we're moving through is a strengthening in ourselves of what it means to be a higher consciousness being on the planet, and what really defines you, and where you have energetic cords to anything in the 3D paradigm that is limiting you. And it's interesting, as I say that, I'm seeing a belt around the waist that is corded to different institutions, politics, spiritual institutions. I mean, it's like being corded to these energy entities that are not of higher consciousness. And that's where you're making a choice. And the choice is simply one of energetics and willingness, where you're ready to keep expanding in your awareness, in truth, energetic truth, not human truth, energetic truth, spiritual truth. You're ready to keep moving forward so that you're not tied to anything that is falling away and shifting. Now, I've decided that I'm going to do a part 2 of this December energy, because there's still so much to talk about, and I'm watching the clock, and I'm going to come back with a part 2 for you. And the part 2 is going to talk about essentially the second half of December and the very big energies that are coming through around the Atlantis wounds, but bringing it into today, okay? Because I know that for some of you, you might not be aware of Atlantis, you don't really care, but what we need to do is make connections, energetic connections, to understand what's playing out. And I feel that the Atlantis energies are very important because we are course correcting from our hearts. And now what I feel, okay, so now what I'm feeling is something similar to a Care Bear stare, for those of you who grew up in the 80s, where you are looking at the power of your heart, the green chakra. And as we look at, they're taking me back to this viewpoint of, again, walking through the stone archway and looking at the valley below and seeing this huge city representing Atlantis. And it's to see the energy of the heart from every being and soul who's creating the circle around the city, to basically send energy from the heart chakra to the shadow masculine energies to darker energies and entities, to each other, to the globe, to everything. It's a healing energy, it's a compassion energy, it's an honoring energy that respects the other as an energy choice. But there's this flood. It's a heart chakra flooding energy that comes through, comes out, and it's what we are consciously choosing now. And I'm feeling like this is where we intentionally direct our energy to close out this decade and to enter the next one, where the astrology is so very big. The energies are so very big, as they need to be, in order to dismantle and take apart what can do further harm. And I'm seeing, this isn't going to be easy. Okay, this is not like love, light, and bliss and that kind of thing at all. This is a very big oil and water energy. And I don't mean the divine feminine, divine masculine energies. I mean very different intentions that don't go together. And these energies are, the darker energies are on the losing end, even though for a long time they've been on the winning side. Okay, so there's this big changeover, and there's a time now where you're meant to be walking in this world with the truth of who you are, and that it's making you different. You could feel like the black sheep, you could feel excluded, you could feel left out, you could feel like, where do I go? I'm a misfit. You could feel like you've been on Misfit Island for a long time, but you're being empowered right now. You have been through a training program to help you show up and lead your life in a whole new way. And I feel like this is happening for so many people who have kind of almost been like, I don't even know where my life is. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. I'm so confused. What do I do next? You are just beginning. You're at this exciting beginning point, but you've had to go through some things so that you don't repeat them, so that it closes out, it's done, it's over. And now you're moving into this whole new chapter that is going to be even stronger and brighter for you, because now it resonates with the truth of who you are. So again, so much has been cleared out. So much has been removed and taken away, probably against your will or against your ego, against your expectations. But when you are truly trusting Spirit, God, Source, the universe, you're good with it. There's a part of you that keeps going, that okay, that chapter's over, that book is over. It's time for my next act. And I guess I just want to give you that resurgence of energy and trust and power that you are going to be in alignment with exactly what you want in an even higher way because of what you've been through, because of what you've had to let go of. So I'll be back with part 2 of the December 2019 astrology. And we'll talk about more of these energies in the second half of the month, because this is really big. And as I said, I wasn't expecting to talk about all of this, but I'm trusting that it's what is needed and that this is what's going to benefit you. Also, I wanted to give you a heads up that I have now just released monthly astrology webinars where I talk about the astrology through the whole month of January 2020. So very big month, right? And it's a pre-recorded, it's a 70-minute webinar that talks about all the transits of the month. So you can follow along in your chart. This is very important for planning purposes, for expectations, for seeing what is highlighted in your chart. Also important if it's your birthday month, you can see what might be playing out on your solar return. But I'll be offering these every month now, so that those of you who want to, you can go deeper into your astrology and learn even more. So it's much more specific than this podcast, but it's designed to help you learn about the energies of the month and become more familiar with your astrology chart along the way. And it's very reasonably priced so that as many people as possible can benefit from the information. So that's below this podcast. All links are in the show description. And I'll be back shortly with part 2 of this topic, where we can look at the second half of December 2019 and the very important energies that are going to be playing out. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time, energy, and presence. I hope that Sagittarius season continues to inspire you and bring about many blessings. And I will see you back here very soon for part 2.